to come at you with some lifestyle, some life coach with the Bible and Christianity. The Bible says not to. It says that you will store up treasure. Like essentially, you're going to store up treasure for yourself, but do not store up material things to save for later, because you're going to pass away at some point. So build yourself treasures in heaven, things that you can eternally keep. Okay, that's one thing. And there is a difference, because you can achieve an idea, a feeling, an emotional state of mind, a cleanliness of spirit, that kind of thing. What else does it say? It says that to not worry the worldly life, to reject the worldly life, the ways of the world, the materialism, I don't know, the bureaucracies, the paperwork. Avoid the worldly life. Don't worry about what you're going to wear or what you're going to eat. Take almost nothing with you. Jesus commanded his disciples to take almost nothing and go from town to town, from place to place, and stay in the same house, right? And that kind of thing, but that they should not worry about what to take with them when they go. Yeah. It says that if you're going to go before a judge, don't think about what you're going to say. Don't make a plan for what you're going to say, because the Spirit of the Lord will instruct you in what to say at the time when it's happening. Okay. So there's that. And what does that... So those are just some of the things from the Bible. And I've tried to live up to those things. I've tried to reject the worldly life and the materialism, and I don't have very much. And it seems like even what I have is, they want to take. Okay. And then on the other hand, you have, so which is better? To live a worldly life where you get good at bullshit paperwork and ripping people off and favoring yourself and building up wealth and money and material things, and he who dies with the most stuff wins. Is that the way to do it? Or do you think the Bible's right when it says to reject all that and store up eternal treasures in heaven for your afterlife? I think that it seems illogical to worldly people. Build up things, build up treasures for myself that I will receive after I die? Okay, no, right? But the thing is, in doing so, I believe that in doing so, into not being greedy, not stealing, right? Doing it right, that by storing treasures for yourself up in heaven to eternal things, you will benefit in your own life. I think I think that it's lost on worldly people that in doing so, storing up treasures for yourself in heaven and trying to attain, cleanliness, spiritual cleanliness and all that, and not sinning, that you will receive a boon in your life before you die. You will remain clean and above, out of touch, out of the grasp of the punishments of sin, right? It's kind of amazing to me to look at society, and I have seen in my own lifetime what is considered to be sinful. The bar for what's considered a sin has been slowly lowered lower and lower, you know, to where uh, they took, they took God out of school, and they stopped teaching a lot of things to young people. And you have that kind of rise above mentality, reject sin and reject worldly ways and all that. You stop teaching that, and you've replaced it with kind of a secular government, I guess. It's like there's this push to people away from Christianity to atheism and replace it with a product, a brand, a way of life that is inferior. It's not as good. Because I believe that the point is you're supposed to take what you get from your birth, with whatever cards you're dealt when you're born, right? As soon as is humanly possible, take control of it, take the reins of your body, right, and your mind, and survive as long as possible, right? Now, when you start getting it, let's say you're greedy and you start getting into deals and you rip somebody off, they might come for revenge. They might come to take something from you. If you steal something from somebody, they might want to take your hand away from you, or some kind of punishment for you. If you lie, people will want to punish you. If you sin against people, they'll want to punish you. And you can escape all that, I guess, through organizing material things to put a buffer between you and whoever it is that you're dealing with. But then you're alone. And at the end of the day, you end up alone with a bunch of stuff that you can't take with you. That you realize you never owned any of it in the first place. Now what are you going to do? Now it's kind of late. I think in the Bible it also says that there was a man who, an old farmer, I think is how it goes, built a barn and put his hay and his food and his stuff from his farm in this barn, but the barn wasn't big enough. He didn't feel that the barn was big enough to store what he truly needed. So I think he tore down the original barn and built an even bigger, or he just built a bigger barn. And he's like, okay, and he put all the stuff in there, and he's like, okay, now I can relax. Now I can lay my head down, and finally that worry will be off me, and I can wait. But he dies that night. So he stored up all this. He was worried about, as he got into his older age, he was worried about, how am I going to store all my stuff? And it's like, God calls him a fool and says, well, tonight your soul is required of you, which is another way to say you died. What good is that stuff to you now? And I think that it puts you, when you're not a worldly person, it puts you in a much stronger footing with worldly people, especially people who found a lot of success in the world. Because usually people who found a lot of success realize that there's an emptiness, and some people can't get over it. But you can, heave the rock for them to maybe stand on, because it's stormy and rainy and their house is on sand. So you heave the rock, and they might be able to climb onto that. Because the rock is the truth of God, the bedrock of truth. Right? That's Old Testament stuff. Anyways, I gotta go. Just some thoughts for you. Bye-bye.